pick up that old fossil.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, we just did a fun little TikTok involving my Grogu and your soup.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun.
I had a good time doing it. We'll see how it does. I wanted to get it on. I wanted to post one that is for a class assignment I'm doing with the class, and I said, if it's good for you, it's good for me. And I'm going to post 5 TikToks involving Campbell's soup. It's an ad class.
Yep.
Over the next week. I've done 2 already, and the one with you I wanted for the Friday because I thought I want to give this maximum weekend traction. Let's see. And I don't do lots of videos with people in them. Truth be told, it already my view count has gone up just by doing that. But I love doing it. I thought it was great. You're a great actor.
Thank you.
And you did a different TikTok with me quite a while ago, and people still say, "Who was that guy in that?" And I go, "It's my friend. I work with him."
Tell them to follow me on TikTok.
I do. Oh, I do.
I
do tell them that. I tell them that you're on there, and they go, "Oh, good." But a lot of people who saw it though are power TikTok users.
Yeah, no, most people our age aren't.
Right. So they're like, I follow my friends, and that's where it begins and ends for me. But It was fun. It's baby Grogu and you, and there's a little dispute, but then it all ends well.
Yeah, he stole my soup. All right.
He stole your soup. He loves soup. He likes to eat.
Yeah, and that's a perfect spokesperson for Campbell's when you think about it, right? When you think about they have those cute little kids. Grogu's cute. That really works well. I'm surprised we have not seen literally a can of Campbell's soup with a little picture of baby Grogu on it. That seems like a natural tie-in.
I actually think it would be great, especially when you had that bone broth.
Yeah, and he's like drinking the soup out of a little bowl there. That would be perfect. That picture on a can of soup.
I love it. Mando gets into the bar fight. That's like episode 3 or something, I think. Yeah. And then we cut away, and what's happened to the poor little baby? And he's standing there sipping his bone broth. He's like just enjoying his soup, watching the show. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Well, we do have another episode of The Mandalorian to get into. We have the third episode of season 3, and this one, I gotta say, it's another great episode. I'm not gonna go as far as like best or worst or whatever, but I will say that I really like the way this one was structured.
I loved it,
and I wasn't sure I was gonna like it until we got to the end. Because I was like, what was going on with this? But this one basically had a bookend. It was like the beginning and end was Mando and Bo-Katan and Grogu after what happened in the last episode. And then we got a little side quest with Dr. Pershing, the geneticist who was working on Grogu in season 1. Did he make an appearance in season 2? I think he did. Yeah, he was in season 2 as well. But now he has, I guess, we'll get to that in a second. But first, of course, we open up on the shores in the mines of Mandalore, just picking up right where we left off. Mando wakes up. He fell unconscious as he was underwater. And then just Bo-Katan's just sitting there going, holy crap, what just happened?
I love it.
And basically, but she doesn't tell him. She doesn't tell him that she saw the mythosaur. Why do you think that she doesn't do that?
That's a very good question. I think it's almost she's in disbelief herself.
I think she wants to defeat it. I think she's secretly, because she knows that Mando is like a strong Mandalorian. I think she's jealous of him and his ability a little bit, that he has a dark saber. She thinks he wants to lead Mandalore, and I don't think he really does. But I think she views him as competition. So she wants to keep that to herself because she wants to defeat the mythosaur so she can rule Mandalore.
I think that tension that was between them before over the darksaber is gone for now, for the time being. Yeah. But I also think it's one of those things. It's Big Bird and Snuffleupagus, in that everybody he tells is like, sure, Big Bird, sure. And I think, like when she says to him, "Did you see something alive down there?" And I loved it when he goes, "Like what?" And it was just very funny way to answer that question. And then she goes, "Nothing." And I think it's true. If I saw aliens, I don't think I'd go running around. If I might say to you, "Did you see that thing in the sky last night?" And you go, "What thing?" And I go, "The stars." Like
because you don't admit that you saw something.
Like you don't want to.
Okay, yeah, I guess so.
Like, I guess so. I think maybe she doesn't want to be a conspiracy theorist.
Or maybe she thinks she did just hallucinate it. Maybe she thinks it wasn't real.
I think that she knows what she saw was awesome, and she almost can't believe it. I think I would just say it's that simple.
Yeah. All right. Well, so then they leave the planet. They move on, and then they get attacked by TIE interceptors. which was I thought was actually kind of surprised that we would see the Empire at this point. I'm like, who's behind this? So they like it was a really intense sequence. They have a great chase kind of a thing, and then he gets on the back gut and starts shooting at them from behind, which is awesome.
This is one. I think it's one of the great Star Wars space battles. I just couldn't get enough of this. Like, give me more of this. And you've also got R5-D4 getting thrown around, and Baby Grogu and his egg closing up his egg at strategic moments. And
I thought he was going to go with Mando into the N7 or whatever it's called.
I thought so too. I was like, how's this going to work? Is he both
going to drop out of there, or what's going to happen? But no, it's just he
but
stayed in the ship.
They didn't do that, and I think that might have been a big leap. No, maybe not. Maybe not, because we do know that's a hovercraft that he's in.
It is, yeah, and it has fallen from great heights, so it's got controls in there. But it's still kind of a cool move. So we're coming in hot.
Bo-Katan continues to get cooler by the episode.
She very much does.
Oh, my God.
Yes, that's true.
Where you're like, she's gone from, remember we said she's a whiny teen in the first one? And now suddenly I was like, she's my favorite character. I brought up my action figure the other day and put it on display.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah. He closes up his little thing. All right, here we go. Get ready. He just drops out. And it's a cool idea that, we need the other ship. We got to get back and just get the other ship. That's it.
Yeah, I accept it because it's awesome. So he jumps out, and I like how the TIE fighters come, and for a second,
fly past him,
he almost gets hit by one. For a second, I thought that's where this thing was going.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, don't hit Mando.
Yeah, and then he's got his back. He lands. Now,
did you notice how he cannot execute the Iron Man landing?
Well, he
doesn't do the punch to the ground.
No, it's a superhero landing. He's still new with it. Well, he's had the black backpack for a while now, but he's still getting used to it. I love that shot. I love the shot of just him like right on him.
How
in the
fast
cockpit.
Is this thing? How fast does it take off? That fast.
Yeah, it's just up and out.
Yes.
And then it gets really cool. But we don't get as much. We get a little bit of back and forth here. They fly through the mountains, which is cool. But then they quickly become outnumbered because a bunch of other... No, first I guess we have the TIE bombers who attack the castle and destroy her castle. And then we just have a big fleet of TIE interceptors coming again, so they have to take off. Now, where do you think all these TIE fighters are coming from?
They drop that interesting tidbit about they got to be coming from somewhere, something like that. And I love the tease. Like, I think this show wants us to think it's Moff Gideon, because we hear later that I think it's Thrawn. I think it's Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Oh, yeah, that would be a big
It'd be big.
That would be huge if they introduced him there. Yeah, I think they might. You could be right.
It's not insignificant.
Well, see, and then we'll get into the Dr. Pershing thing in a second, because there's that other character who for a while, I thought that character was still working for Gideon. Remember the one that he runs into?
Yes.
I'm like, well, is she still working for Gideon, or what's going on there? But I don't think that's true anymore after what happens. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it could be Thrawn. That would be I would be happy with that development. I think that would be.
They name dropped him in an episode of season 2. We know the Ahsoka show's coming up in the same timeline. This is the centerpiece right now of the Star Wars universe, and I love it. And I think I do still think that pirate character will show up in Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
In the Star Wars show Skeleton Crew. So I think it could be that, but okay.
I love it. She pulls a Top Gun move. She just pulls hit the brakes. And just stops in the middle of the air. And right? Look at R5 floating. Like, that's awesome.
But I love that they take the garbage droid from A New Hope, and he's suddenly he's going to become a foil to Baby Grogu. I think there's lots of comedy potential between those two.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Yeah. And I feel like this was structured well, because it was only 4 interceptors, but it took them a bit to get rid of them, right? It wasn't easy to get rid of the interceptors. So they okay, everything okay, good.
They look like a swarm of bumblebees coming at you. Yeah. It's horrible.
Well, it's just like in Return of the Jedi. It's the same kind of thing, right? That shot in Return of the Jedi where they're all just coming at you. But then again, a bunch of them show up here. So my question is, they do take off. They go into hyperspace. But where's the Star Destroyer that I presume all these ships are coming from? There should be a Star Destroyer in orbit of this planet right now.
No, maybe a base.
Oh, maybe a base.
Could be a base.
Which planet is this again? It's not. It's hers. It's that's her castle.
Yeah.
It's in the same system as Mandalore.
They say it.
I don't remember.
It's not Navarro. That's the other one. I can't remember the name of this one at the moment, but
it looks a little bit like the same place where Luke was.
It does a little bit.
It's probably Ireland.
Yeah. I love that. And by the way, this episode, I have to point out, is Andor-esque.
It is.
And in many ways, but in this particular scene, it's Andor took a TIE fighter and made it frickin' scary. It made it look like from the ground, like, oh my God, get the hell out. This does the same thing. Yeah. It takes TIE fighters that we think we know, and it makes them terrifying. And there's so many of them, and we don't know where they're coming from. Yeah. It's so beautifully done.
Absolutely. And then that's it for this. They go off. I'm setting jump coordinates. We're going to go somewhere they won't find us, and they jump off. And then we don't come back for a while. No. We just come back to these guys at the end. And I'm glad we did, because if we didn't, I would have been upset.
No, but I was at no point upset during this. I found it riveting. And right from where we make a transition here and we see Coruscant, which, by the way, has never looked better.
Yes.
And right away, I got into my Andor mind. It was like, we are being told a tale here, that a rare look at the goings-on of the New Republic Coruscant.
Yeah.
And the Opera House, where Anakin had his
chat. Is that
chat.
the Opera House there? Okay,
had
great.
His chat with Palpatine.
Oh, yeah,
right
that's
the one.
Yeah.
I just thought the attention to detail here. I have a new favorite character in Star Wars. You know who he is? Can you figure?
Dr. Pershing?
Oh, no, better than that. The guy with the hat who's like, I was almost drafted into the Empire. Anyway, oh, Empire rebels. Oh, who can keep track?
Well, exactly. But that's an interesting point, because it shows you that nothing changes on Coruscant, right? No matter who is in charge, the rich are still rich. They still get to do whatever they want, and it doesn't really affect them. Which I think is a fair point, because that does happen in our world as well, right?
It reminded me of Mon Mothma's husband going, it's my day of days.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, everybody's a pretentious asshole on this planet. And then his wife goes, we try to stay out of it. like, oh my God. And by the way, Mon Mothma is out there.
She is. I would think that
she's still alive, I think, as far as we know.
And I would think that Leia is there somewhere too. Right? You'd think that Leia, and they're rebuilding a government, she would be part of that, although she ends up leading the military side of it, I guess.
Correct.
But still, they're in there, and maybe Han is around, and Luke, they're somewhere around Coruscant. We don't see them. We see Dr. Pershing here. He's got to give an apology. What do you think his deal is? He did a plea bargain, I guess. Right?
He's entered the 12-step rehab program. Clearly, he's delivering a TED talk. I have to point out. A futuristic TED talk.
He said it's all because he lost his mother as a child. That's why he decided to do genetic experiments.
He has many excuses, and this actually raises a question that I'm surprised that would be at home on Andor, which is, how do you rehabilitate somebody into society who has been part of the evil empire? Like, it's the Nazi question, right?
It is, yeah, and that's very much what this is, and it has felt like a lot like, Werner von Braun going to work for the U.S. after the war ended, right? They get all the geniuses of the evil empire to work for them. And I think they're showing us this. Like, he's got all this crap about the genetics and whatever. But then when we get ahead to they've got him in kind of a halfway house, I guess you could say, right? Where all these ex-empire people are. And I like that idea. I thought this was really interesting.
I did too. I was engrossed by this. From the word go, did you know that one of them was questionable? Did you know, like, from the first scene, that our good doctor was in over his head?
I kind of felt like that. I felt like he doesn't really know what to expect in this situation, and he's kind of scared, and I think he's got good reason to. It's interesting that he runs into this person. I don't remember her name, and we were both on Moff Gideon's ship. But again, given what happens later on, I just wonder if that was all set up, if this is all just a big setup for him.
Well, there's so many questions, right? Remember when we said we talked about a TV show gets boring when you stop asking, what is this about?
Yeah.
You know what it's about. And the part of the reason I found this so riveting is, like, what the hell is this about? Like, there's so much going on, and it's so confusing. And even at the end, you're still a little bit confused. But when I watched this scene play out with him sitting at the rehab table, at the lunch table or whatever, and you could tell already, like, he's so easily manipulated. He actually means well, I think. I think he feels bad. He feels sorry. He's not assertive at all. And there's somebody at the table who recognizes that. By the way, did we see her? I don't know the character's name. Did we see her on Moff Gideon's ship before?
Yes.
I don't. I did. I
no, she was
remember.
like his second in command or something like that. I believe it. She was like
we saw that.
I'm sure that we've seen her in multiple scenes. Yeah,
good.
She's been an established character, and yeah, I agree. It's I like the little details of the scene. I like the little 6-pack or whatever they're drinking here. They kind of stick the jars together. It looks like a Star Wars 6-pack, I guess.
So many new Star Wars menu items in this episode. The Day Glow popsicles, the biscuits, the rectangular biscuits.
Yes. Oh, yes. The ration biscuits. Yes. There's a lot of stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, I did feel like something was up with this. Like, again, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to like this Doctor character. I guess they're trying to make him sympathetic to it, like us sympathetic to him. Well, but he is like, as far as I'm concerned, he's culpable in all this. He's still like performing genetic experiments on a baby Grogu, I assume. So that's not a good thing, even if it was for the Empire.
He's like, I can still do this research. It's still going to be helpful. And I think that's a lie he's told himself. And okay, great. But I don't think. I thought in this scene maybe he was the one who was trying to manipulate others by appearing to be meek and mild.
I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's possible. It's always possible, but. As this plays out, this poor bastard is a rube. He is about to get his ass. And by the way, his storyline here is not dissimilar from the creepy guy in Andor.
Yeah, it's just like the Empire, the asshole Empire guy with the horrible mother. In Andor, he's like working at a cubicle. He's got to like catalog these ration cubes or whatever. Like his job is very menial and repetitive and not fulfilling at all. And they're decommissioning the both the Rebel and the Empire fleet. So all of those warships are now being taken apart and repurposed or whatever. So he's like doing this stupid cataloging thing. He's not happy with that.
So many great shots of Coruscant. Holy, like more than we've ever had before. And I don't know, like in the New Republic Coruscant, just the brights, the colors, the lighting, just so well done.
It does seem more vibrant than it did when we saw it during the Empire's rule. So I think that is a conscious choice they're making.
And one of my favorite things they introduced in this episode, Coruscant is on top of a mountain.
That's true.
And the peak of the mountain sticks out, and only one spot. And is that, Dan, do you think we're going to come back to that mountaintop at some point?
I don't think so. I didn't think we would.
No. They may, it's so cool and interesting a detail. I want to know more. I want a piece of that rock. I want to understand what's going on.
Well, they won't let him touch it. They warned him away. She
pranks him. She punks him with that.
That's funny. But I like the point of it. It illustrates the point that the entire planet is a city. And there's not a single, this is the only natural material left of this entire planet, and it's rock. It's just rock. Like every other natural resource has been consumed. So I think that's just like saying this is where we're going to end up if we don't stop what we're doing.
Basically, if you built a city on top of the mountains in BC and you just allowed the peak of the mountain to stick
But it's like level upon level upon level, right? And that's a huge mountain, so it's supposed to be like this is how high up we are from the original surface of the planet. So yeah, it is a cool idea.
There's exploration to be done below, and I don't know that this show is going to get into it. But I love that they showed us this mountaintop. It's just such a cool little Star Wars detail.
Do you think that they could crawl? It looks like there's a bit of a gap there. Do you think they could crawl down there and climb down the mountain?
I think anything's possible.
Sorry, the droid.
And when he was going to touch it, I thought maybe it had magical properties.
Or maybe he would feel something when he touched or something through the Force. I don't know.
I thought there might be something. And I love that the droid that says "Don't touch it."
Now, this is all well and good. They're having a good time. They're out drinking or licking their glowing popsicles. But I was starting to have suspicions about this character at some point, this person who's befriending him, because, like, why is she so friendly? And why is she, in this conversation they have about his work, like, why is she being so, like, persuasive? Like, then you should continue it. Then you should, live a little, break the rules. Like, she's really pushing him to, I want to talk about this in a second. She's really pushing him to continue his research, right? Yeah. So something's up.
Yeah, something's up.
He has to go to therapy. Is that what this is?
No, this is his rehab counselor who just wants to make sure he's on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, he just has to answer all the questions properly.
Or it's more like a parole officer.
Yes,
almost.
that's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I guess so.
And without legs, I think it's half a body.
Oh, is it? I didn't see that.
I think it's just a torso sitting there.
He doesn't even warrant legs. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. There is no legs. Okay, so there you go. So he has to like kind of go through these like, interviews where you're like, do you feel any resentment? Do you feel any anger towards the New Republic through your coworkers? Like I would be, I don't know, I would feel honest and say, hey, I don't like my job. Can you give me something else to do, please? I don't like this.
But then
this feels like droid work, by the way. You know how he talked about droid work? What he's doing is droid work. Absolutely.
What we find out later, I don't blame anyone for lying at this.
Okay.
It's probably better to lie.
Well, I mean, but they make it so easy to lie, right? All he has to do, and he even tries to ask. He asks, if I were to pursue my own research, would that be allowed recreationally? Yeah, for fun.
What I want to know is if he said, "Do you have any resentment to your coworkers?" and if he answered, "Who doesn't?" would the droid like that answer because you're just like everybody else, or not like that answer because you're going to cause problems?
Right. And does that mean the New Republic is just another form of the Empire? Right? You want everybody to conform.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, so
there's lots of questions about that for sure.
This whole amnesty program thing seems very interesting, and I kind of like this idea of like rehabbing or rehabilitating the Empire, the evil people in the world, because I guess they didn't know any better. Or I don't know. But this is what happens, right? When evil empires fall, there are still people left. These people still have to live. Yeah. So anyway, so then he goes and what's her name convinces him to go ahead. Now, what does he need? He needs some kind of lab. He doesn't need much. Of course he doesn't need much because then that would be too much work for them to do something. So he needs some kind of lab and some equipment to start his research. And she's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, I'm sitting there going, why is she pushing him so hard? Like, what is this? This is really forced. And I feel like he shouldn't feel like something's up.
He should not take the bait.
He should have realized where this was going.
But I think but that's how we see that his thing is not an act. It's legitimate. He is meek. He is unsure of himself, and he's primed to be taken advantage of.
And he's just going where somebody pushes him, right? So yes, of course,
it's a tragic tale this guy's got. It really is. From when you really think about the character arc from season 1.
I like his outfit. He's got a nice jacket.
And this is very Blade Runner.
It is.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they what day they don't say Mondays, am I right? They have a different day.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, whatever the day is. We learn about a new day of or is it that a holiday, or is it a day of the week?
Is it Bunta Eve? No, it's not that planet. I don't know what she says. I don't have the subtitles on. But anyway, they have that funny, am I right? Yeah. Just a grind. This reminds me of, they're on a subway. This reminds me of the scene in that video game where they're on the subway. Remember they had that opening scene where you fight off the stormtroopers.
You bet.
So now they're trying to sneak out. They have to, because they're a part of this amnesty program. They're only allowed to be in a certain area. So now they're trying to sneak out of the area, and they do this by not paying for their fare. They just sneak onto the train, right? Basically.
Yeah, she holds the gate open with her foot.
Yeah.
They didn't jump the turnstile. They just bypassed
I guess they check your door as you get into the train. And then, of course, they are caught. Now, this was funny the way this plays out. This droid takes forever. When he finally, the ticket taker droid, and I thought, oh man, are they gonna do I loved an Indiana Jones throwback for no ticket or something like that? Would have been hilarious.
But this reminds me when I was in Japan, met my cousin for lunch, and I had no fare to get back.
Oh,
and I said I need to somehow get some money so I can take the train back. He's like, nobody's gonna ask you. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I thought there's a guy right there checking tickets. He's like, they're not gonna ask you. You're a foreigner. They know that they can't speak your language, so they're not going to stop you. And he goes, I'll just stand here and watch you. I was like, okay. And this guy looked like military. He was going to scream at me, and I just walked right through. And sure enough, he didn't touch me.
Huh.
I got on the train, and I was like, with this new knowledge, I will travel all over Japan. So this reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah.
They got guards, but...
Well, and again, this guy's not making a really effort to come after them. He's kind of walking slowly.
He's a very slow walker.
Yeah, and they're causing all kind of attention by going from car to car. And they make a point of showing the droid has a special ramp that he can just travel across and easily. So yeah, they have this is a little bit extended, this whole escape from the train thing. I don't know. Yeah, there's not much else we have to say about this, I don't think, right? They get off the train.
No, it's a good thing they have lots of soft things to jump on.
Yes, that's right.
That was the one thing.
They timed that very well. Yeah.
There's some soft things coming up. Get ready.
So now we are in the shipyards, the junkyards, where they're taking apart the Star Destroyers. Again, we've seen a lot of these things in not only that video game, but also the Bad Batch likes to spend a lot of time in junkyards. So we've seen...
Not to mention Force Awakens.
Right.
Rey going through the inside of a decommissioned Star Destroyer.
I mean, when you think about it, these are very, very dangerous things that are sitting there, like just huge weapons full of all kinds of different things. Oh, she gets the power back on, no problem. Again, very, very convenient. She has all this stuff is just there for them to do.
Yeah,
right?
and the whole time I'm thinking, what is in this ship? What is in here that they don't know, or what's going to come jumping out at them? But they find the lab and help themselves. He's got a very little case with them. He doesn't need lots.
Like you said, he doesn't need lots. He just needs certain things.
Part of me thought, like, couldn't you just bought this stuff?
Exactly.
Like, it almost didn't justify all of this.
Can't you order this stuff on the Star Wars equivalent of Amazon and just have it delivered? You know?
Like, he could probably do his experiments with a table and some...
Well, not only this, so... The thing is, what I was thinking about while I'm watching this is, yes, they're stealing. What are they doing that's wrong here? Well, they're going to a junkyard and they're taking parts off a discarded ship. Yeah. So I guess, yes, it is stealing. But he actually hasn't done any genetic experiments yet. He hasn't done anything with this equipment. He's just getting what he needs. So
the problem is he's in Empire rehab, and going to a place like this would be off limits.
And that's it. But you're right. And then they take him to this. Of course, now we're getting into like Clockwork Orange territory.
When they got busted, did you think? Like, I thought that all of that security. And by the way, I love the uniforms, but the New Republic security force that surrounded them, I thought they were going to go like, okay, let's all go back to the Empire now. I thought they were just dressed that way because we'd seen the Empire in the previous Mandalorian scene, and I thought they were going to take him back to continue his cloning. That's what I thought was going on there. So when she turns her back and she's like, "Oh no, I'm with them, and you're coming, and you're the prisoner."
Yeah,
that surprised me actually.
Well, again, I thought she worked for what's his name?
Moff Gideon.
Gideon, and that he was somehow controlling this, pulling the strings from behind bars, and that she was getting him to start his genetic experiments so they continue whatever work that Gideon wanted him to be doing. Yeah. Which I think was to make Force-sensitive clones. I think this is ultimately what he's trying to get him to do, is so they can have Jedi stormtroopers, Jedi clone troopers, basically. Is what they want. I don't know why I motioned like he was going to be like a sword, like he has a lightsaber. Anyway, so then they catch him, and she has betrayed him. So I don't understand. Again, I don't understand why they would set him up just to do this. And, he wasn't going to do it. He wouldn't have done any of it if she didn't push him to do it. Yeah. So what is the purpose of her doing that?
I know. What is the purpose? Now, there's a few possible... Oh, by the way, did you like It's a Trap?
I love that. Yeah, there's a few things in this.
I also like the Admiral Akbar type guy saying, "I've had it done myself."
Yeah.
But first of all, is the New Republic as bad as the Empire? And this certainly points to it's not great.
Yep.
And the term mind flayer is horrible. What a nightmare.
I thought they were talking about that creature in Rogue One, that thing that Saul, what's his name, had?
Yeah,
Saul Guerrero had.
Right, I thought it was just going to make him feel momentarily depressed and then get on with the business at hand. Yeah. That's what I thought was going to happen. Yeah, you're right. What is that thing called?
I don't know.
Whatever it is. Okay, so I like the scene. It's terrifying. The doctor is terrifying. What is and she's standing behind the glass watching this happen. He is trying to get somebody to believe him, and nobody will. And what is her motivation? That's the major. Like, is she just getting her kicks when she pulls out the cookie and bites it? She's enjoying this.
Like, it feels like, and then she does something to him here. Like, she asks to be left alone with the equipment. Yeah, which is sort of a bad idea. And so this feels like it might be revenge. Like, did he do something to her?
No, I don't think it's revenge. I think she digs this. Either this is her job and she loves it and she's taking a bite of a cookie, like this is as good as it gets. I love that. Or she's a double agent for the Empire. I thought that was possible.
That is possible. I guess,
yeah. Or doing this job allows her to do some other job that we're unaware of, that gives her credibility at work, turning people in so nobody notices what she's doing.
Well, this seems to be the first time she's done this because this guy has this whole conversation of like, you're all, you know.
Oh, right. This is my friend.
Yeah. So I want to stay. But she also, like, for every, you know, bad person, there's a success story like you. Like, you are the reason why we have this program is to rehabilitate you Empire people. But then she goes over and just turns up the heat and fries his brain, I guess. Like, why would they leave him unattended during this procedure? I don't understand that at all.
For the plot device, easily. But there's also, I mean, this raises so many questions about what she is up to. And I wouldn't want her for an enemy. Let's just start there. So she cranks it up. But here, okay, so he's it's awful. Will we ever see him again, do you think?
I don't know. And she eats the ration cubes. I don't know.
No, that's the rectangular cookie.
Whatever it is, the thing that he was cataloging.
Yeah.
But what?
No, that's something different. The thing remember he opens up his door and he's got the box of cookies there.
Yeah.
That she gave him?
Yeah.
That's one of those cookies that was outside
It's
the
not
door.
the same thing that he was cataloging in the...
No, I thought that was something else. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I thought that was the same ration,
maybe I'm wrong.
The ration cubes or whatever he was cataloging.
I think he was just eating it. I think he brought it from home for lunch. Right? Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. But maybe I'm wrong. But I think that, like, to me, she definitely enjoys it. The question is, does she just enjoy it as a hobby, or does she enjoy it on behalf of the Empire? I think that's it. I think we don't know.
Or somebody else, I guess. And then we have the last 10 minutes, or not even 10 minutes, really. It's just like 5 minutes, really.
It's quick.
But again, it wraps up that other side of the show, which was, of course, where they jumped to, where Bo-Katan and Din Djarin jumped to, which is the planet where his, of course, he wants to go back to his, not coven, what are they called?
A covert.
Covert.
It's a weird name for it. I always want to say coven as well, but
I just feel like it's a C word, but it's
Don't say the C word on the podcast, man.
Yeah, so he takes him. He wants to, because he's been redeemed. He's got the water, and by the way, he did gather some water from the mines, and he wants to prove it to them as soon as possible. So he's gone back here, and he's saying to Bo-Katan, "Don't take your helmet off, because that'll be bad."
You know what he doesn't say to her? Watch out for the giant alligator in the pond.
That's right.
He does not say that. I can't help but note. He's more worried about her taking off the helmet.
Didn't they kill it? Did they kill it or not?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
But I mean,
I
assume there's more, yeah.
You think so? Yeah, so then they come in here, and then, you got all this, like, I felt like, they're spending a lot of time showing Jon Favreau's guy kind of posturing a bit around.
Is that Jon Favreau's voice?
It is. I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Sounds different.
Yeah, well, they modified or whatever.
Yeah.
So then he's here to tell them that he, has done what he said he was going to do. And they accept it. She tests the water first, right? She has to pour it into the thing to make sure it's correct. But it is, and then they accept them back. And they say to Bo-Katan, you too, by the way, since you were here and you also bathed, you didn't mean to, but yeah, you can join us too. And if you don't want to stay, that's fine, but while you stay here, you can be a part of our clan.
But I think, to me, this could have been Bo-Katan fighting with the armorer. It could have gone a lot of different ways, once again. And I think Bo-Katan is into this. I think there's a reason why she was a troubled teen back at the castle. Now she has friends.
Yeah.
And she's with the group. And it's like, it reminds me of, you go to a church service at a church where you've never been, and they welcome the newcomer because you're a potential convert, like she is the convert.
Yep.
And if you have been lonely and missing friendship and stuff, then this could be a powerful thing. And she has been separated from other Mandalorians. So this is a new opportunity for her, and I'm so curious to sort of find out what she gets cooler by the episode. She will probably be the one who rides the mythosaur.
Oh yeah.
He'll probably be the one who continues to have the Darksaber. I don't know. I don't see the tension over the Darksaber anymore. It's interesting.
Well, I think that she will end up with it because she wants it. I don't think Mando really wants it. I think he just kind of has it because nobody will take it from him. But I think this is like, she's part of a group if she stays here, right? Regains what she's lost. She lost her followers. They all abandoned her, and here she could just be in. You can see them like, oh, hey, how's it going? They're like clapping each other on the back. Saying, welcome, and it's, this is a nice feeling of being a part of a group, even though we can't see any expressions on their face. She takes a look at the signia of the mythosaur on the wall. Oh, I could be a part of this. And I like how they can show, just with her head movement and just with her looking around, you still get that feeling of...
it's amazing.
Yeah.
And where's baby Grogu in that last scene?
Well, he's somewhere in there.
Did you leave him on the ship?
No, he was beside them as they came out.
Okay,
he was there.
I just missed it.
Yeah, he was there. He was probably just getting, soup or something. Okay.
I love this episode. I really do. I'm all for longer Star Wars, and I'm not somebody who's going to complain and say I want to see more Mandalorian in the Mandalorian. This is the way the Star Wars storytelling is now, and even on Boba Fett, when we kind of went away from Boba Fett for a couple episodes, it's fine by me.
Yeah,
just keep we'll probably see the Mandalorian show up in the Ahsoka show. Like we're gonna just see more of that happen and more sort of asides, and I love it. I love the Andor style storytelling that they put in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I think that's deliberate. I think they're showing us that Star Wars can be more than just lightsaber battles and that kind of stuff. We haven't anything like that in this series.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I like the bookending aspect of it, what they did with the beginning and end of it. And we did get this nice little story about Pershing, but more importantly, it showed us what is happening on Coruscant now. Right, because we want to check in with all the different parts of the galaxy that we're aware of in the Star Wars universe, and I would love to know. I mean, we've been on Tatooine, Coruscant, Yavin isn't relevant anymore. I would like to check in on Endor and see what's going on there. That would be nice, right? So we might want to do that at some point. Probably not in this series, but maybe something else. But yeah, and I think your Thrawn theory is interesting. It could be Thrawn. You're right. It could be Thrawn, or it could be somebody else completely. But I think that would be a good choice.
We're not going to be surprised with Moff Gideon. It's not going to be a shocker.
No.
So I don't think it'll be him. We'll see what he's up to at some point. And they dropped the idea. Either he escaped, or he's in prison, or there's myths out that we don't know where he is. Yeah. And I like that. I like that we don't know 100%. And that's good, but it'll be better if the big surprise is not him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see what happens next week. That's going to do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vedabunker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the Force hit you on the ass.
Going into Toshi Station to pick up the power converter.
TK421, do you copy?